Hey, hold up. Stop scrolling. I have an important message for you. My name's Matt, over on the Off Topic Show here on YouTube. I want to let you know, stop being a loser.
Loser!
Yeah,
You're a
you.
loser.
Stop
Are you
being a
feeling
loser.
sorry for yourself?
You hold all the keys to unlock all the locks that are stopping and putting up all the roadblocks in your life. Stop being a victim. Stop saying I can't, start saying I can. And I'm sorry some random person on YouTube got to get you this message. Dude, be grateful that you woke up today. Stay highly positive. Every day above ground is a good day. And here you are scrolling endlessly, just absorbing negative energy from most of these creators that are so fake, faker than plastic tits down on some model in Los Angeles. I'm telling you this, folks. You got what it takes to be a winner, but you got to acknowledge the fact that you're a loser and then look at yourself in the mirror, be honest with yourself, and then go after your dreams. Anyway, I'm out of here. Subscribe. Peace. Yo, you guys, it's the Off Topic Show, and I have a good one for you today. I got my buddy Adam Sjogren. Did I say that right? The J is silent. Oh, shoot, I got you on mute. Dang it, I messed it up. Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Matt.
All right, technical difficulties. First of all, thank you for being on the Off Topic Show, and I just slaughtered your name.
No, Sjogren, you said it right.
Oh.
Sjogren.
How many times have you had to correct people throughout your life on just the last,
Matt, if I had even a penny, I wouldn't be sitting here. No, I don't mind it. Yeah, it's an opportunity to say I'm a proud Swede. Yeah.
What's that last name from? What is it? It's
Swedish.
Swedish. Nice. And you're out there in Massachusetts where it's cold. It's
freezing cold. Today probably 5 degrees. Yeah. About 2 hours west of Boston.
So it gets a little chilly out there, but you find a way to bring the heat regardless if it's chilly or not. So tell us a little bit about what it is you do, if you don't mind. I'm gonna play a couple videos.
I think maybe Matt, I had no
Check
choice.
this out. This is like some flex.
There we go. Yeah, this is the type of thing I do. This is just a small. Take a look. It's my boy Tom. Somebody I met through recovery. But this is an individual I work with for a long time. But Matt, you mentioned I wake up and bring the fire every day. Yeah, I had no choice because after 13 years of using heroin, crack, cocaine, I had no choice but to do something different. And I had to put that same energy and vigor towards living and helping people, which really fueled me and fuels me today, that I did to using drugs and finding ways and means to use everything. And by the grace of God, that's what's happened. I get to do this. You see this here. Check this out. It's just, Matt, please turn up the volume on that. Yeah. As an example.
It's easy on your hands. Take this, and instead of your standard tricep push down that has you doing this, I'm going to have you take your hands about 6-8 inches apart in a firm base with your feet.
So this is just a basic exercise. This is what everybody would do in the gym. And here I take it. I give a little bit of a twist to it, literally and figuratively. There's a little bit of a twist to a standard tricep press. And what happened was when I got clean after those 13 years of using, I'm happy to get into what happened before that. It's clearly a lot to that. But what happened was I found that there was a lot of synergy and synchronicity when it came to building a healthy and clean body and getting clean. There's a lot of things a lot of discipline, a lot of the same things that it took me as an individual to get clean and sober are what it takes an individual to get healthy just as a human being, mind and spirit. Drug using alone. You don't have to have been through what I went through to be able to benefit from the disciplines that I help people instill into their life today. I just had no choice but to instill them into my life and then wake up with that fire every day to just stay alive. I help people not have to get to that point. And by the grace of God, a lot of them have been put into my life.
So you're helping other people, but at first, as you're hearing people are building in the background out here, I'm getting to some construction getting done, but metaphorically speaking, building, you have to build yourself a good foundation. I always tell people before you can help anybody else, you got to help yourself, because what you'll end up doing if you try to help others when your foundation is not good, not only are you going to ruin yourself, but you're going to hurt these other people because you're not going to be able to be there for them fully like you want to be because you're not good. So let's go back to where we all have our own vices and addictions. People get addicted to video games, smoking pot, drinking beer. How did you find yourself in this predicament where you were chasing the
sure?
And if you don't want to, thank you for opening up, because a lot of people go through stuff, but they don't they don't share it and they keep it bottled up. So what we're doing is we're just kind of allowing people to see a different perspective of what it's been like to go through something. And you're an example of coming out of it. So let's go start at the beginning. And when we get to the end, we'll stop.
My story is rather atypical. Growing up, I was the epitome of somebody who you would never expect to use alcohol and drugs. I was known as somebody who was, say, straight edge. I wasn't like in that crowd, but Adam didn't use alcohol or drugs. Adam's father was a police officer in the big city, and I was an athlete. I was never going to go that direction, and I never felt I was going to go that direction. And then I went off to UMass. Was very successful there as a student, but I also was continuing to compete in bodybuilding. And at the same time, I wanted to enjoy life at UMass. I wasn't drinking. I was nothing really. And then I had stopped bodybuilding and I wanted to enjoy college life. This thing that I heard about UMass being this party school that I was now a sophomore, even junior. I hadn't experienced it. I had friends who seemed to be having a lot of fun, but now it felt like my turn. But I knew that I couldn't continue drinking because there was still things. I was still connected enough to the bodybuilding community that I wanted to keep a relatively good shape. But my friends and I had like this pact. We weren't going to use drugs. Specifically at the time, it was OxyContin. There was this thing, we saw it just ruining lives, and people would dabble in other drugs, but we had this thing. And then one day, a real close friend of mine said, "Hey, I did it." And I was like, "Hey, I thought we weren't." And then next thing you know, I did. And then I knew nothing of addiction at the time. I had no idea that it wasn't something I could just stop. And at the time, somebody was using my dorm room as a storage place for their business, obviously illicit business. And they were just leaving money there, like half their profits. So the money wasn't an issue for me. I just continued using. And then I had finals coming up at UMass, and somebody said, you can't just stop. Because I said, I'm going to stop before finals. He said, you can't just stop. What do you mean? No, you can't. He had a Russian accent. Oh, he's Russian. And that's how I learned. And it was shortly after that I got arrested for the first time. And again, this is while my father was an active Worcester police officer. Proud of my father, 42 years as a Worcester police officer. And so these are his friends that were hemming me up. And then there'd be state police, there'd be investigations he'd be getting word of. It was absolutely horrible. And I did get clean shortly after that first arrest for pilfering a set of keys at a gym that I had gone to preschool at. This place was so near and dear to my heart. And I felt so horrible. Like, to me, there wasn't a worse place it could happen at. And I was so embarrassed. Obviously, was kicked out of there. That was the first.
And when you
place
say, not to cut you off, but when you say
Please.
The guy was telling you not to stop, was that somebody who's just said it's going to be hard, you can't, or somebody that was also using and they didn't want you to stop because they want you to keep using so they're not alone? That's, most times you want other people using, right? Yeah. So they're not.
Yeah, great question. Ironically, just about everybody that I ever obtained my drugs from said, "Hey, man, I really wish you wouldn't do this." And that individual was one of them. You got to stop. Like, you're throwing your life away. Believe it or not, Matt, people saw something in me that I didn't see. And by the grace of God, I've been able to come full circle with many of those people. And they've been able to say, "Hey, I'm so glad you got here." That still happens today, currently, that I'm able to now work with those same individuals that were on the other end saying, "Here you go, but you're throwing your life away and I hate to see you do this." So no, that individual that I was referring to, he wanted me to stop, but he was saying, you're going to feel terrible. You can't just stop. He was giving me a warning. "Hey, don't you know these are addictive? You're going to have withdrawals." I knew nothing about that. I was 22, 23. I didn't know this OxyContin stuff was just coming around.
And you said, since your dad is a cop and you were getting into trouble and it made you feel like, I don't know if this is the same comparison. Maybe it's not, but my dad, he used to always plant these flowers, and he had to go on a business trip, and he told me, "Son, can you just water these plants while I'm gone for the weekend?" And I just hung out all weekend, smoked weed, drank beer. My dad came back, the flowers died. And I was in the back. I seen him through the back, the kitchen window in the backyard. Just, you could see the look on his face, like disappointment, like the flowers died. And I was just like, I felt such like a piece of crap because all I had to do was just water flowers. Hanging out at home, just drinking, smoking weed the whole weekend, and I didn't care. So I mean,
that's a great story, and that reminds me of just prior to that first time that I got arrested, which was maybe 12 times. By the grace of God, there's no record today. I've done what I've had to do with all those instances. But that story that you say reminds me of an instance where my father had said to me verbatim prior to he and my mother leaving for a Yellowstone National Park. His exact words were, "Adam, whatever you do, just don't get arrested." I can hear him saying it. and they hadn't so much as landed at Yellowstone. And for the first time, I had been arrested at that gym. It was a YMCA facility, and I remember him coming back, and it was his good friend who had to bail me out. It was a $40 bail, and have since been able to laugh with that individual about that. And yeah, so I remember the disappointment, and it was that got me clean 12, 13 years. Like, I couldn't take that feeling anymore, Matt, that disgrace, that shame. And that was one of the many times that compounded to me being able to eventually stop.
Damn. And did you get, cause a lot of times in our 20s, I tell people like, dude, I wasted a lot of time. I'm not blaming other people, but I blame myself for wasting a lot of time around people I thought were my friends. Were just, if you took away these, like, okay, let's say you and I go to a party, right? Let's say you bring, let's say for the sake of conversation, you bring a 12-pack of beer, I bring some joints, and we're at this party, and everybody at the party, they're just a bunch of negative Nancys, and they're not even bringing anything, not even a good conversation, a good time.
Yeah.
Why are they at the party? Or better yet, why are you and I at the party? Like, if you can't bring something, it doesn't have to be drug. I'm saying even just bring it a good time. And I just found myself always around people that I was always at least bringing something, a good time, and nobody just, why are you at the party? So were you just spending a lot of time at the party and not sure why you were there? Like, how did
your questions are I guess I'd say unironic at this point, but it was feeling so alone at these parties. I wanted to be a part of the group, but I'll tell you, Matt, the first time I had my own stuff, like, again, like literally and figuratively, I had whatever I needed. It was going to be a good party because I was okay. I'd be in any bar, and although I was very popular and doing real well at school, and to some degree, like the life of the party, I didn't feel that way. Looking back, I was the exact person who would seek out alcohol and or drugs. For me, it wasn't so much alcohol, but I was the exact cutout of that person who would seek drugs because the anxiety, the social anxiety that I felt even amongst my friends who were true friends, I just felt so alone at these bars that I was seemingly popular at and having a good time at. I knew in my heart I wasn't. So I sought to escape that feeling. I would have done it with alcohol, but I knew, first of all, I didn't like it, and I knew what it would do to me physically. So I sought speedballs, actually, heroin and cocaine. Towards the end, it was only fentanyl. There was no heroin around, but that lasted for 12 years. I got out of UMass, graduated, and held it together in the finance world for about 8 years, and another job for 4, and did pretty well. A couple of stints in rehab, but only for a day. I'd leave immediately. And
is that why? Because you said some of these drugs you use like around a gym and stuff. So it's kind of like this full circle to where now you're like back in a gym, but you're now helping people overcome their battles. You're getting in shape. You took care of yourself. Now you're helping people build their foundation, which before you were now, it was like the whole other, I mean, it's like weird how life comes around. Like,
absolutely. Prior to ever using drugs from 18 to 22, I did help people on the side. I do some nutrition work on the side, and I wasn't really looking to make the money. I had jobs throughout. I was in the finance world for a bit after UMass, and so I bodybuilded and competed at age 18 and 21. I didn't compete while I was continuing to use, but I have since returned and did one more show at age 40 about 2 years ago, and have no intentions of competing again. But people often ask, how did you continue to go to the gym while you were using? And the truth is, I always went, but sometimes I would be stuck in the parking lot with a crack pipe in my hand, unable to ever go to the gym. And then I'd realize, oh my God, it's already 5:30. My girlfriend or family's going to wonder where I am. And so I'd be stuck there. Anybody who's used stimulants like that knows that paralysis that it causes. So some days I'd never make it into the gym. Some days I'd go in there and be, I don't know, a little spaced out, but I credit that tie to the gym with making it a little bit easier for me to get clean. It's the one thread that I continued. It's the one thread that still held me together to give me some semblance of the life that I wanted. I wanted a particular life. I envisioned it, and I knew drugs were totally in the way. I could never get to that point if I continued using drugs, and I wanted it so freaking bad. And
before you used, you went to the gym before you used, right?
Yeah, I worked out since I was about 14. I was a heavy kid. I grew up a heavy kid, and I decided to lose weight at about age 17. Just I didn't eat much. I was diagnosed as anorexic, which is a lifelong diagnosis. I don't believe I struggle with it today, but there are some mentalities that go along with anorexia that probably still affect me today. But yeah, I was able to have what I consider a successful career in bodybuilding. Did 5 shows and won multiple classes, and wonderful. It taught me so much, and I take so many of those principles in with me every day, both into what I do here, how I help other people, and more importantly, how I stay clean every day. The discipline and will, delayed gratification.
You kind of going back to the roots, like the
Mm-hmm.
way before I started maybe picking up a joint or anything, it was always picking up a camera, just a video camera, and just hanging out by yourself. And look how we've evolved now, where it's like I'm talking to you now in the moment. But the way your gym is like the camera is my gym, and how important is it just in general to have, as you said, it was that going to the gym, right? If you that ability to want to go to the gym is what basically helps save you. And then we can get into later maybe religion and your you know, maybe through the gym. Then, you know, like I say, through my own way, I found God through my own path. We're all going to find God. I know some Christians are certain, you know, the only way to God is through certain ways, but in order to even get there, don't you have to start getting on a path? You know, maybe it's picking up a camera or going picking up weights, especially if you want to be believing. So how did you start finding the faith in I guess God, but also the faith in in yourself before God was there? I mean, God was always there, but how did you even find it? Like
God was always there. I was raised as a Catholic. We didn't go to church every Sunday, but we'd go on the holidays and I'd say my prayers. But I had certainly given up, and I didn't believe that I was going to be saved at the end. After 13 years of waking up every day with just absolute loathing in my heart for myself, I knew that I was done. But thankfully, there were people around me that weren't done. Specifically, probably my mother and father as well. They hadn't given up all hope, and I came to a point where, at the end, I was really only not going to rehab because I didn't want to lose my job. I had a great job, and that was my fear. But towards the end, there was a series of circumstances that led me to either leaving that job. I wasn't fired, but left on somewhat favorable terms, I guess you'd say. So I left there, and I could no longer say, but I'm going to lose my job. There was no excuses after that. So that day I had gone to rehab or detox. And again, it had been at this point nearly 13 years without a single day clean. And I remember
not a single day clean.
Not a single day clean. No, I was a daily heroin.
13 years though. I mean, how? Holy
13
crap.
years. I mean, this is track marks to prove it. Yeah, 13 years. That's a great question. You ask how?
How?
At no less than $250 a day to this day. Like the math doesn't come out, but there was always some way. I wasn't a hustler. I wasn't a scammer. I didn't have something like that. I had a decent job and made probably nearly 6 figures. It was a good job, but it wasn't, you can't support a habit like that. So I did the payday loans, or I'd pawn something, or I'd tell my mother some guy was coming after me for make up crazy nonsense, Matt, the wildest things you can imagine. And somehow I managed to keep up with it and use every single day. That was just to cover the opiate use. I would inject 5 times a day, no less than 5 times a day at $40 to $50 each. And on top of that, if there was cocaine and or crack available, that'd be part of the equation too. Yeah, that's how it was, man. Every single thing, every move I made, everything I said, every decision I made had to be bounced off of my addiction. Well, what about how am I going to use? How am I going to have enough? How am I going to go to the beach? Can't go to the beach. I don't have enough money to buy a day's worth. I can buy like 1 or 2 bags, but then I'm going to have to work on the next $100. So I'd have to see the individual also, or individuals a couple times a day. Meanwhile, I'm trying to hold it together, having a girlfriend and relationships, multiple relationships. It did horrible things in terms of making me I won't blame heroin for making me a womanizer, but it decreased my moral. It ate away.
You didn't have love for yourself, so how are you gonna have love for anybody else and stuff?
Yeah.
If you can't even look yourself in the mirror, of course you're
gonna. It was hurt all around.
Yeah. It's this pain of just like, I mean, damn, dude. Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, you're here for a reason. I mean, dude, 13 years daily, and what you were saying is how most addicts think. Like when I was smoking cigarettes, it's like we're having a great conversation, and I'd have to go step outside to grab a cigarette, and
no different.
So much. It wasn't like when I wanted the cigarette; it's when the cigarette wanted me to have it, and that can be for almost a lot of addictions, right? It's like you don't have control.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. I mean, you do when you realize you do. But so here
I would
you are.
expect that almost any addict can identify with the fact that you wake up and just prior to opening your eyes, that thought is already there. If the thought of that cigarette or the thought of using, it's already there. And it was like, how am I going to beat this thing if it's there before I can even prevent it? It's already so deep in me. So
What
yeah,
would you
I
tell the
agree.
people? And I don't want to call out any of my family members, but they're going through some addiction themselves,
Sure,
and I
so
love them a
many are.
lot. But they're saying, "Hey, I'm going to wait. This is the last pack. I'm after this, I'm done." And don't you think you can't wait until after the last? You got to just stop. When people say, "Oh, I just got one more," and after this, but you're never going to stop that way. Do you know what I mean? Like when they say, "Okay, after this did you ever be like, this is the last hit? That's it. This is the last one." And then
I'd say for 10 out of those 13 years, every day was hating what I was doing. There was no enjoyment anymore in the using. It was just to maintain some level of being able to function. There was the days of the parties and the clubs in Florida, the car rentals and all that stuff. Those days were so long gone. Now it was just a battle. And wanting to stop was that was so long. That wasn't so saying today's the last one. What would happen? These are real life examples. I would say, well, that wasn't the right song. I didn't have the right song on her. I'd rather do it like where I did my first one at like something so nonsensical, but to a fellow addict, they can identify with that. They know what that's like. Well, I'm just going to do one more because the guy said that the stuff's different this time. You'll make up any excuse, and that's the addict brain thinking. I guess I can relate it to I had a child 10 months ago. There wasn't the right time. We don't have enough money. We're not ready. I'm not this. I'm not that. There is no perfect time. It's right now. It has to be done now. You will figure it out. And that's just especially true for getting clean and sober. You need to at least give your time, give your brain that moment of clarity, which isn't going to happen at home trying to get clean. You've got to get yourself some help. So rarely is it done.
Baby born and looking in the eyes. I've seen a photo. I was like, dude, looks so much.
Thank you.
Well, you show me your wife too. You got it looks like a lot like both of you, but it was just how did that like so much joy? I mean, I don't know. Like when you seen what was that moment like? Because there was moments of getting over things, and then it's like, wow, maybe it's all for this, you know?
Like, I thought I had it all when I got clean. I just wanted a day clean. I just wanted to not stress, not have to tell a lie. I wanted to be able to look my parents in the eye and feel good about myself with my head up, shoulders back, and without wondering, are they going to find me out? Do they know what I'm up to? And when I was able to achieve that and get 30 days clean, 60 days clean, and get a job, and then open up an office and just kind of say, hey, let's go for it. Things started to happen, Matt. I thought I had it all. And with each individual that I was able to help, I would think that more and more. And then a year into recovery, I met my wife. And the truth is, and two individuals could attest to this, that when I first saw my wife at the gym, I told these two guys, hey, you see that girl? I'm going to marry her. They said, well, you don't even know her. I said, I'm going to marry that woman. And today we've been married nearly 5 years. And
hell yeah.
I have two stepdaughters, 9 and 8. I have an 8-year-old stepdaughter, nonverbal, autistic. I prayed for patience. God has now given me patience. And I have now a 10-month-old baby boy. And for me to say that I thought I had it all, Matt, prior to the birth of my baby boy, but it's just gone. But God has done that. Looking back, there's been so many instances where I've thought, well, how could it get better? Because I've thought that I'm maxed out in some area of my life. And then God delivers in ways that I couldn't imagine. I'll tell you, because of the abuse that I did to my body, both fitness related and recreational drug related, many years ago, I was told that I was sterile. It was extremely unlikely that I'd be able to have a child as a result of the damage I did. And by the grace of God and through much prayer and faith, we've got a 10-month-old, beautiful and perfectly healthy baby boy today. Thank you.
Wow. That is a miracle right there. What do you mean? So sterile, like you mean like what you said, you can't, I thought if you're sterile, you can't have kids.
Yeah. So what happened was, after years of steroid abuse, I decided to go to a urologist, just check things out. And I was so impeded and so hindered. There was so much damage done to my own natural system that they said, your body is not going to produce enough, or they call it, I had low mobility and low motility in the test is what they called it. And they say extremely unlikely. And now to have that baby boy, now I will tell you that for years after that, I continued to abuse steroids. And so I did even further damage. So for me to know that today there's a beautiful baby boy that to some
Dude, it
degree,
could be in a damn
totally,
Pampers commercial or something, dude. I'm saying I'd show my wife, and it was just instant
oh,
joy.
that's nice to hear. Oh,
You know what I
thank you.
mean?
He's been able to.
Well, dude, it's either they're good looking or they're not. I'm not gonna. It's. I know it's messed up. It's either I've had a friend's like, "Hey, look at my son." You're like, "Dang, it looks like a damn egg," and like you know what I mean? Like
I do know what you
no,
mean.
when I saw that photo, I was like, "Wow!" Like just brought joy.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, thank you.
And that's your son that you
Yeah.
created. And how does it feel to like? So yeah, let us know. So let me pull up your Instagram here. So what is it? You run a business? How can people even like? We still got a little bit while to go here.
Sure, man.
I want to show people how can they get if they want to reach out. I'm going to pull up your Instagram here. Like
this business, my business, Flex Level Fitness. What started as Flex Level Nutrition. I was a nutrition consultant because I worked in a supplement store from the time I was 16. I was into bodybuilding. I had done a little transformation on my own, and I'd give tips and had a specific way of being able to communicate with individuals, and they took a liking to it, and it seemed to appeal to people. But I never thought of being able to making a career out of it. I was very career oriented in the sense that I went to UMass and went the corporate way. And when I got clean and sober, I had made the decision that I didn't want to go back to work for anybody. It felt like anytime I had somebody in a position over me, I was somewhat hindered in my ability to produce and really excel. And there's also the component of, I believe that that part of my drug use was because of the hours and the commitment and just the whole lifestyle that goes along with living in corporate America. It wasn't something I wanted. So I took a chance, and I hadn't totally destroyed my reputation as a result of my drug use. Some people didn't even know about it. And a lot of people did. And it only helped because they were able to see now that I had come back and was on, I guess some could say, a path of redemption. And that is how it felt for a while. Not now. I'm proud of what I've done. And it's no longer just a goal to redeem myself. But what I run is what's called Flex Level Fitness. It started as Flex Level Nutrition. Now it's Flex Level Fitness and Nutrition, since I added the personal training component to it some 5 years ago. And what I do is take individuals who are at a mental point, with or without drugs, typically without drugs. Most of these individuals have no idea of that past that I've got. And it only aids the work that we do. And they're at a place where they're able to take the principles that I learned and honed through my experience in addiction and recovery and apply them to their fitness journey, that willpower that it takes, that discipline that it takes. Matt, you talked about structure and people needing to start somewhere. The majority of the people that I work with that are really struggling, they don't have a sleep schedule. They go to sleep they wake up at a different time. They go to bed at a different time every day. There's no structure. A lot of times we begin that structure with going to the gym. And that doesn't mean you're starting your day with going to the gym. It just means we're going to build your day around something positive. You're going to have something to look forward to. Next thing you know, they start getting results and they want to know, what more can I do? How else can I improve my diet? Here's how I'm eating. What's the next thing I can do? Maybe we try some intermittent fasting. Maybe we try adding. There's all sorts of things we can do. But the best part is that once they have a taste of that change and then improvement within themselves, they get the momentum, the motivation, and it becomes a perpetual motion machine. It's progress after progress after progress.
It's kind of like taking the training wheels off the bike, and going. I remember my Aunt Sandy, rest in peace, Aunt Sandy. I remember she came over when I was 14. Yeah. All my friends could ride the bikes, and I was always the friend for a little while that was just running along the side of everybody because I couldn't really ride a bike. And my aunt came over one day and was like, "Matt, we're going to teach you how to ride this bike. You just need what the lion needed was some courage, and I needed what the scarecrow needed, and that was a brain. Now let's go." And I remember getting on the bike, my little Huffy from Walmart, and I would get on, and then I would ride across the street, hit the curb, fly over the handlebars, get back up, shoot, and it was like do like pong back. That by the time I got done, my nuts were sore, but I realized that it was I was able to do it. But my aunt, who just decided one day to come over and was like, "We're going to learn." And she literally, my dad and mom and my other brother, there was something about my aunt coming over. And so you're kind of, you got like, remind me like my Aunt Sandy in that moment, like coming over and like, "Come on, we're going to do this." And how did it feel? How does it feel when you see these people come in from day one and then you help them and you see them take off the train wheels and then they don't even what you don't want them to do eventually is show up, right? I mean, the whole idea is you get them going where they don't show up because they're doing it. They're showing up on themselves,
Yeah.
right? Like, or
Mhm. That is generally the idea, Matt, and that is what happens. They become capable of being able to do it on their own. But many people refer to our time together as their therapy. What happens is when you work with people on that physical level and you spend oftentimes once a week with them, sometimes twice, and sometimes it's even just the electronic communication that we share, you begin talking about other things. And again, those disciplines that I was forced to hone if I was going to recover from my drug addiction, I'm able to tie into our experience together on their fitness journey. That willpower, that discipline, that scheduling, a lot of those same things that I had to apply very early on in recovery and still do today are the same things that I help clients to apply to their life early on in their fitness journey. It's just in their case, they don't ever have to get to that point of despair that I had to reach in order to incorporate them.
we're looking right here. Here's an
Surely.
example, like you said, of this woman who came in. The schedule was off and everything. Do you still talk to her? Do you?
Shirley's great. Shirley, I just saw this past weekend. At this point, Shirley trains with an employee of mine once a week and once a month in a group session. Yeah, Shirley had come to a nutrition workshop of mine some 2.5 years ago. And she initially started working with me on the app. Flex Level Fitness has an app. I work with people all over the country. And Shirley was one of those individuals, she's about 50 miles from here. And she's had extreme success. And that picture that you see on the right here, that's probably about 3 months ago. Shirley's even a long way from that now. I just saw her this past weekend and took an updated picture. Actually, she's done phenomenally well. She's a school teacher. She works as an aide in the classroom, and she's in a situation where she's around all that food that people bring in and they want to share it. And now what's happened? She goes to the school now and people say, Shirley, what are you doing? And she tells them, and yeah, man, there's an energy that happens. Reminds me of Kevin and Heaven. They're on the Instagram as well. Kevin and Heaven, that's their names. Kevin, 4 tours of duty he did over in Iraq, and Kevin lost nearly 100 pounds with me. His wife lost nearly 60. Matt, they've got 9 children, and I've got a picture with them all wearing the Make America Flex Again t-shirts going like this.
Make America Flex Again.
They're all healthier now because Kevin brought it into the household. Kevin's the man of the household. And Heaven said, hey, can I, they started doing it together. And then the children saw that the parents were healthier and had more mental clarity, more energy, and it becomes a whole family effort.
And I'm pulling up right now, going to the website.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, you see Shirley there on the left. Yeah, see, she looks a lot different there. And it's Christine. She's come a long way as well. She comes from up in New Hampshire. And Dan.
Yeah. Dude, this is rad. I'm glad I came to this website.
Oh, Jess, she just had a baby, Matt. Right there. This girl, Jess, she has a baby, 2 weeks old. Jess, I work with Jess every Saturday morning. And boy, Jess is she texted me some pictures telling me how much she had compared her pregnant self now to when she had her last 2 babies, because she's just so incredibly fit now and totally different body, totally different mindset. She approaches nutrition entirely differently now. And that's the result. Yeah, proud of Jess.
Wow. Shout out to Jess. And personal training, nutritional planning, online coaching. Yeah. The key thing is just you can be that catalyst to just get that person, because we all have that light in us, but we got to get that spark going. And it seems like that's what this is all about, getting that flex level fitness, getting that spark, getting that spark.
To call it personal training is I'm not that term to call it personal training. I'm just not sure that fits appropriately. There's been so many individuals that have met with me either online in a situation similar, in a setting similar to this, or they come to my office here one-on-one, and it's just that one meeting. They hear something a particular way, or it gives them a different perspective. They're on their own. They just go either with or without the app. Sometimes they just need to hear things a particular way and they're good. Oftentimes they just need some structure. They need to follow the app. And other times they want to have one-on-one plus the app. There's all different options, and everybody ends up getting results, Matt. It's not a sometimes thing. The way we do things, it happens to be 100%. Good begets good. And by the grace of God here at Flex Level, we've attracted some incredible people. We turn good to great.
I love this. This is great. I'm glad we came here so other people can see it too, and just get an idea of the face, behind this whole, this is all came from you, right? As idea.
Everything, 100%, Matt. This is a one-man operation. Again, I do have Heather's over there on the right. You see Heather's a trainer of mine. She teaches some classes. They've got some people working as like an apprentice under me to learn. But all this is a one-man operation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of your time, but you're feeling it's rewarding, right?
It's so rewarding, Matt, to be able to have given back in this way. That man, Anthony Sarandolo, now works with the Red Sox. Actually, in the off season, he does body work on flex level clients. Great gentleman there. Gave me my very first job in the fitness industry. There's stories on stories. I don't want to get off track here, but yeah, it's incredibly rewarding to be able to do what I love, and it's worked out so well for my family and myself. I got clean, Matt, with 6 figures in debt and credit score in the low to mid 5s. And that's not the situation I'm in today. By the grace of God, I've been able to do what I love and take what's in my heart and help other people. And that realness, that genuineness that I know is in me has appealed to people, and it's allowed me to build this business, Flex Level Fitness.
What would you like to say if somebody, because you can be like how we are right here in the moment. So if you're wanting, you could be anywhere, I guess what I'm saying. If somebody just needs that boost and like, hey, I like this guy. I like his energy. I like what he's about. Plus he understands how, maybe I want to go buy certain weights. What do I need to do? Like he could, like, you're basically could be you're a coach. So
I'm a coach. People refer to me as coach. Yeah.
Is it really just like, hey, how do people, like, is it just that simple? Like, somebody in Oklahoma can just reach out.
It's that simple. It's that simple, right? Thanks to technology, today we've got a great app, the Flex Level Fitness app, which provides you everything you need for the week, whether it's your cardio, your weight training, everything you need. We do specifically hypertrophy training, which is conducive to muscle gain and fat loss. Yes, both can be done at the same time. I'm happy to provide you a diet. I am a certified nutrition consultant, certified personal trainer, certified behavior change specialist. I help people quit addictions also. Fingernails, Suboxone, crack, heroin, all of them. It's a mindset. And all this, we're able to help you electronically today. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. Yeah. I love to work with people in person.
And that's awesome. And have you had somebody where, like you said, most people coming in, that not everybody has a past where they were addicted to something, but you see maybe sometimes these people that are struggling, and then maybe they might open up and then they feel a little like you think you might judge them or something, but then you hit them with well, you're not alone with that. And they're like, wait, what? You actually have done? Wait, what? Like, they don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to them probably when they look at you. You don't look like.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that, Matt. And that was actually my experience when I'd go to detox as well. Because I had continued working out, sometimes it'd say like, really? And that would frustrate me because I knew up here I was as much an addict as anybody in that detox facility. So it would frustrate me when the nursing staff would question, like, you sure you're an addict? So
it's one of those awards, not necessarily you want to, it's kind of like a weird thing, because it's like, no, I am. It's like, wait, you are? Calm down. It's like, well, no, I just mean, like, I've gone through hell, and for you to kind of insinuate you don't think I have just because I came through it and I look like this now, this was hell. So go on.
What compounded that was I also wasn't somebody who was like on the med list. I didn't go to detox with a bunch of meds. I was a straight up heroin and cocaine addict. That's it. I didn't just take a bunch of stuff. I wasn't like that. So when I go to detox, I wasn't all disheveled, and so they would. But to your question, I had relatively recently, maybe 8 months ago, begun working with an award-winning 23-year FBI agent who now works privately. But she spent 23 years with the FBI and won awards for her work in human trafficking and whatnot. So what a shock to her it was when maybe our third session in, this comes up. Matt, I'll never forget the look on her face. She was just stunned. She didn't believe what I had said. And there's so many instances I can remember, even people that have been friends for a long time. Thank you. Yeah, that's about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago that was taken. So her reaction and that reaction that I see on so many other people's faces, it helps them to understand that there is no look to an addict. I was as sick as absolutely any addict they've seen in their life. I know how low I was. I know how dark it was in my brain. So oftentimes people will say, oh, you didn't even have to go to jail. I mean, I did. I spent a day in jail, but no, that's not where I hit rock bottom. No, rock bottom was right up in here. I know how dark it was. And
yeah, you had a gel in your mind. I mean, you didn't have to be behind some physical bars to actually be behind some kind of mental bar that you could have just pried apart if you really just focused, which you did.
I did. I did have to. I don't believe that I could have gotten clean without going into a facility. And thankfully that facility wasn't jail. The facility was a place down on Cape Cod where I went to detox. And about 54 hours in, I'll tell you a quick story about being in that detox. I was sitting there in the room. There's about 20 of us, and I was the only one that doesn't smoke cigarettes. Anybody who's ever been to a detox knows that everybody smokes cigarettes when they used to allow it, maybe 5-10 years ago. So I was sitting in this room, and the counselor, Jim, had come in to put a boombox on. He said, I'm going to put some music on for you guys because you've been good. Here I am, 34 years old, and you've been good. And I'm thinking, okay. And I'm just sitting there, and I've got this Land's End jacket on, and I'm freezing because there's a door over here on my right that they keep opening because they're going in and out smoking cigarettes. And I'm freezing. And again, I'm about 54, 55 hours in without anything. And all of a sudden, I just had the song Peaceful, Easy Feeling came on in that boombox. I remember this like it was yesterday. And for the first time in what was over a decade, like my shoulders lowered and I could breathe. And I had this sigh of relief. And to me, that was the Holy Spirit. And I felt like if I don't use again, I could hold on to this. Like, wait, this is the feeling that I've been looking for. I've got mental clarity. I don't have to lie. I can say what I'm doing right now with pride. And that's what I wanted to hold on to. But I had heard enough times in meetings and people who were looking to help me, you can't keep this if you go use again. It's going to go away and eventually it's just going to end. I had totaled 4 cars. I had had so many close calls. And I knew that it was coming to an end really quickly. And my parents, especially my father, he wasn't looking to help me out anymore. He hadn't written me off by any means. My father and I still had a relationship. But in terms of helping me, because he was a cop, no, he and all of them were done with that. Nobody was looking to help me anymore. The chances were up. So when I was in that detox, that feeling that came over me, I was sure to never let go. And I've held on to it since, and I've never forgot it.
And that, it sounds like moments like that are what kind of, it's like, we might have like certain stories, right? And you don't, somebody told me a long time ago, you have these good moments. You don't want to just share them with anybody, because if you share them with anybody, they lose that touch. And that's why certain moments in our life that mean a lot to us, we might not never share, or you only share it with yourself. And, or it's like you, and so what I'm trying to say is that particular moment, there's several points probably in your life that you look back to that moment and it kind of helped give you that boost. We got to look inside, right? Sometimes we're always looking out but you got to be like your own motivator and stuff. You got to like have your own back and love for yourself, right? Because when you love yourself, then you can put the other love into your family and friends and extra people. So, man, dude, this, I didn't think, like when I came across, like, how do we even, it was the internet or something. How do you find off topic show?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you asked. So right when I got clean, my brain, all of a sudden, Matt, imagine you're spending what feels like every waking hour thinking about ways and means for you to get more. How are you going to get money today? What if your guy doesn't answer the phone today? How are you going to leave work if you go to a meeting at 11? All these things. And then all of a sudden you don't have to worry about that anymore. And at the same time, you're not working, you're collecting unemployment. Imagine the brain space that you've got. Well, I had to fill it with something. And for the first time, I was able to actually put it towards things I was passionate about and cared about. And I was opened up to a lot of right-wing media. And so it was Jordan Peterson, but very quickly I found Gavin. And this was way back in maybe like Blaze days. And so I've been a follower of Gavin and Ryan for a long time, Censored.tv, obviously. And then when you joined the network, I thought you were a phenomenal addition. And it was nothing more than saying on Instagram, hey, great addition to the network. Awesome show. Keep it up. It was something simple like that. And we've said before, real recognizes real. And maybe you saw something real in my videos. And we just started a communication, and there was something, it seems, that you thought I had that could benefit the viewers on your network. And hopefully that is the case, because for 7 years, I've been told that there's a story to be shared out there, but God saw fit to provide me with success very early on and make me busy really early on. So I haven't had the opportunity to really sit down and tell the story. Really, even to this degree, at facilities where I go in and speak and share it on a level like that, but not on a platform like this.
And sometimes we don't understand, like, I've been doing videos for so long, you just put them out there into the ether, and you don't really know if you're actually any watching, or anybody even gives a damn. So for me, when people reach out and they say stuff, or even like, hey, good, it's like, oh crap, you seen it? It's like when I was in Austin, Texas, I spent so much of my 20s just going with these bands, traveling around, not making much money. I was in Austin, Texas one time, never been there. And this kid goes, are you Video Matt? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I've seen your video with that band Paramore. And I remember I got so excited. The guy started getting kind of weird. Like he was like, why is he so, I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's me. And he was like, he was kind of like, wow, why is this guy getting all, and anyway, I called my dad. I was like, dad, I'm in Austin, Texas. He goes, yeah, son. I go, I've never been here. He goes, yeah. I go, somebody just recognized me. He goes, how much money are you making? Because you've been making a lot of withdrawals and not enough deposits. And I'm like, I understand. I'm not making much, but these experiences out here. And I guess what I'm saying, just people taking the time to recognize you doing something. And it's a really good feeling. It's a real natural, just high feeling, something that people, you can't put a price tag on it. And so for me, it's always been about that, just like, I don't know, just when people go the extra step, say, hey man, keep doing it. It's like, oh, wow. Really cool.
Yeah.
So,
I associate that with when I post like a workout video or give a quick tip. Usually I'll just say somebody who I'm working with, hey, turn the camera on real quick. Let's film this. And when there's somebody else who says, hey, I tried that this week and now my legs are killing me, or it really helped my biceps. It's just so rewarding to know that somebody actually watched it. They listened and they improved their workout. That's more rewarding than any paycheck I get, really. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. We live in such a beautiful time. People want to say it's the end of the world, this and that. Look, we're connecting now in the moment. It's all about perspective. So what would you like to tell people out there if send them a message of, if people are just feeling like they're going in despair, the world watching too much news, everything's negative. What do you want to tell to people that feel like they're just losing their mind?
I don't know that there's ever been as much hope. Again, I've been clean nearly 7 years now. So that's about the only amount of time I've had of mental clarity from 34 on. And I can tell you in that span of time, I don't know that there's ever been as much hope in the world, and that the aggregate energy of the world has ever been as positive as it is right now. And it's certainly not a time to let pass you by. And if you're going to do that by drinking, drugging, cheating, stealing, lying, you're really wasting something that's probably not ever going to come around again. So I'd strongly recommend that you quit those vices and give yourself at least an opportunity for what I foresee to be at least the next 4 years, to have yourself a great life and capitalize on the opportunity, create something great for yourself and for those around you. People love you. That's what I have to tell.
Dude, Adam, this has been, we'll definitely have you back on the show as in the future here. We're just getting the audience a little introduction, because there's still so much to say and so much to do. And
a lot of stories. There's a lot, man. Yeah, there's a lot. Happy to share it all. You had mentioned how a lot of people don't keep it, don't share it. Somebody had said to me after I spoke at a center, they had said, thank you for being so vulnerable. And that caught me, because to me, to be vulnerable would be to keep it all in, because I know that's what had me using, was I was hiding. That was what made me so vulnerable to the drugs. What makes me not vulnerable to the drugs is just putting it out there. I'm fully transparent today. I don't hide anything. So I'm happy to share it here with you and the audience, guys. Thanks.
Right. I mean, how can you, if you're that person in real life, how can you go online and hide it, or vice versa? If you're going online, like, I tell people this, like, this is how I am, who I am. What it would get tiring to lie all the time. But also imagine you can't even be yourself online. Like, you mean you hold this device and you can't even be you when you go? Yeah. Wait, what? Yeah. You pick this up and instantly you're somebody you're not. Like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah. People would say that early on. They'd say, I love that you're always real. I never understood how you do anything else I never thought to pick it up and put an act on. It never crossed my mind. So people say, I love when you just talk and say what's on your mind. Well, that's what occurred to me when I saw this is what I could do with it. I didn't think, okay, who should I be today? And that's appealed to the people that I've wanted to appeal to. I don't have 10,000. I don't know. Got real people on there, though. Real people.
Quality over quantity. And I say it all the time to people that watch me. Fine, y'all have people come into my live. You only got 50 people in here. Ho, ho, ho. I'm like, well, that's 50. Dude, or That's 50 people. That can fill up a whole bar if I was doing karaoke or something. What do you mean? That's 50 people. That's 10 people. For me, it was always just one other person. It was always me making videos for me because I enjoyed it. The bonus was when somebody else would watch it. And even if it was just one other person I didn't know, to me, that was freaking rad. So, Adam, this was really cool.
Awesome.
And you're really a highly positive person. And I'm lucky and grateful to be on Compound Censored. I'm grateful that you came across and seen it. And dude, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't make a video, put it in the internet. Gavin and his crew came across the video.
That's how it works.
Every day, just sending a video out every day, hoping somebody sees it every day. And then that connected. Then you came and see, it's all about connecting, not consuming. And when we start doing that, that's when we help lift each other up instead of tear each other down. So, dude, this was great. And thank you to everybody watching. And
thanks, guys.
And we will be talking soon.
Sounds
really
awesome.
Cool, dude.
Yeah. Any information I can provide to the channel, Matt. Happy to help. A lot of experience here to be shared.
Yeah, I need to start. I need to maybe take some tips myself, even because I'll be rocking out with a chair for like an hour dancing to music, and then I'm like already out of breath. I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be I should be out of breath.
You got to be in prime shape now, Matt. Prime.
Like you gotta, prime. I gotta start doing what Elon's doing, cutting off whatever little fat But yeah, thank you again, Adam, and stay highly positive, everybody.
Likewise.
And you were watching the Off Topic Show right here on YouTube.
Thanks, guys. Anybody want to reach me? It's the Fit Addict, THA. Matt will be posting it here, the Fit Addict on Instagram, or Flex Level Fitness and Nutrition, where you get all your Flex Level Fitness tips, nutrition tips. I'm sure, like I said, Matt will post it there. There's online. You can reach me there via email. Better off reaching me via DM on Instagram, the Fit Addict. Like you see there.
Okay, so you can go here. I just went ahead and got this the newsletter I just subscribed, but like you said, it's much better just to go right here, direct message.
Yep.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
All right. Well, as they say in French,
Awesome,
I need to learn French, but anyway, thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.